OK, well, let's get some fan perspective on this. So we've got a couple of Leicester City fans on the Skype. Well, we've got Christopher in California and Paul in Johannesburg. Christopher, Paul, pleasure to have you on the show with us. First of all, Christopher, your reaction to this, how do you feel about what's happened?
Well, honestly, I'm not really surprised because it's all about the numbers. We all know Ranieri won the Premier League, and he was fired the other season because he didn't perform. This is 10 games right now, and Shakespeare's just gone to only one win. If we really go in depth on what Shakespeare has had this season, he's had enough support from Mr. Vici, the owner of Leicester. So far, this season, Leicester spent about £83 million on buying of players, and they have sold over £45 million or so. So if you minus 83 from 45, you have roughly about a deficit of about minus £35 million. So it's only about the numbers at the end of the day. If you can't get the numbers, you can't have the job. Simple.
Paul, Christopher's mentioned numbers there. Looking at the stats, 21 Premier League games, 8 wins, 4 draws and 9 defeats. So I guess it's that last number, the 9 defeats, which is, I guess, ultimately cost him his job, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously, the aim of football is to win football matches. It's been, I think it was a little bit disappointing the last 2 or 3 games of last season. So he wasn't starting from a good point. Particularly that 6-1 defeat to Spurs was just terrible to watch. And I think this year, yes, we can argue they've had very difficult matches, and they have, and they've not been totally outlasted, any of them, but they've not managed to get the results from the games that they should. And I think you or Matty said it earlier. They must get the results from. Okay, they beat Brighton, that was a reasonable performance. But Huddersfield, the Bournemouth draw. I mean, they should have been thrashed against Bournemouth. They were terrible. So they're not managing to get those wins even in the games they should win. And I think it was a bit of a surprise to me that they got rid of Shaky. Right now, I think they probably should have given them a little bit more time, because I do feel they were starting to turn it around. There were some positives from last performance, but ultimately it's a results game. So I think let's hope that somebody else can come in, can breathe a bit of energy again into the players. Very disappointing in a lot of the new signings, and some of those guys who've got to justify their 20-30 million plus price tags. They really have to start playing football. Although, if not, they must get rid of them.
I think time-wise, it's probably not a bad time. They're only 4 points, really, from a top 10 spot. So I think whoever the manager comes in is going to realise, you win a few games, you're right back up there. Is there anyone you'd like to see at the club at the moment, manager-wise?
Oh, I think we've lost Christopher, so we'll give that question to Paul. Wayne's asked, is there someone you would like to see come into the side now? Obviously, he's looking forward now.
Yeah, I think from a manager perspective, I mean, there's lots of ways they could go. I mean, these guys are running big companies. They will have plans in place for things like this. They'll have been thinking about this 3, 4, 6, 8 weeks ago or something. The danger is that they go with somebody that's specializes in keeping you up, like like Alan Pardew or those sort of guys. And I know Alan Pardew's been mentioned. I'm not saying he's a great manager, but I think we should be looking for somebody a little bit more younger, with a bit more energy. Okay. Probably from somewhere.
Yeah. Christopher, a few names that are in the ring already that have been mentioned. You've got Chris Coleman, the Wales manager. Ancelotti's another name in there. Do you think that Leicester City still has the pulling power for a big name like an Ancelotti or a Mancini, after this last couple of seasons? Because they won the title. It was an amazing achievement. It was a great season. Things last year were OK, and this season where they find themselves. Do you think Leicester City is still an exciting prospect for a manager of that calibre?
Sure, yeah, they have what it takes. We all know Mr. Vici is a billionaire, so having money to afford a coach like Ancelotti is not really going to be a problem. But also, the coach has to justify why he's going to be paid so much X amount of money. So that shouldn't be a problem, But no doubt, Shakespeare is going to be missed, because we all know Shakespeare was with the team even before Ranieri was there. He had a chemistry with the players, but it's all due to performance. I think Ancelotti will be a good replacement for Shakespeare.
OK, Christopher, Paul, pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much for your thoughts on that one. Wayne, a couple of names there we've mentioned.